us to go over any of the homework questions?
Just hold on 1 minute. Okay. Oops. Okay, so we're looking at methods of markers, the last way to look at fair division between a number of people and splitting up items or assets. And so in this method, what you're going to do is you're going to take your assets and you're going to lay them out in a row randomly. Once you've done that, every player that is playing is going to look at the array of assets, and without telling anybody else, they're going to decide where they would place some sort of a marker, just some chip or something that would mark where they would think, okay, if I looked at the first item through this item, this to me would be a fair share. And from that last item I chose to the next item or items, this would be a fair share. So they would do this privately, and then they would put down what they had chosen. So you can see here's an example where you have 3 separate players down here, and these items are just arrayed. We don't know exactly what they are. And then we're going to look at who gets what. Okay, so we're going to look at how this is broken down, and it's helpful to make a chart while you're looking at this. So let's make a chart, and we have players. We have players A, B, and C. So depending on how many players there are, depends on how many rounds there are. And so we're going to have round 1. I'm going to just call it R sub 1, round 2, and round 3, because there's 3 players. And so we're going to mark off where each player puts their chip. So let's look at first player A. So player A, this is where their first chip is. So they believe a fair share right now would be for round 1, would be items 1 through 5. Okay, so let's look at where they placed their marker, A1. So the start of round 2, they would include 6, and they would go to 8. So 6 to 8 are the items they believe is a grouping of a fair share, and then 9 through 13. Okay, so let's now look at player B. So player B, their first marker ends after 3. And so they believe a fair share is 1 through 3. And so their second marker, this is at the 8. And so items 4 through 8 would be round 2. And then 9 through 13 is going to be round 3. And then last, we got player 3. They first put their first marker after 6. And so 1 through 6 is what they feel is fair share for round 1. And then they put the marker after 10, between 10 and 11. So 7 to 11 is round 2, and 7 to 10, 7 to 10. And 11 through 13 is round 3. Okay, so once you've marked your players and which items they believe is an equal or as much as equal fair share, down. Okay, so once you have this table down to decide who gets what, you're looking at where is the first marker that comes up for round 1. So let me kind of just erase what I have up here. So the first marker that comes up for round one is player B. Okay, so player B, we are going to now, because that marker came up first, we're going to give them, they get that share 1 through 3. Okay, so they already got their share, so we are going to X them out of their markers. Okay, so now we're going to look at doing that, and we're also going to X out, no, we're not. Okay, so now we're going to look at where is the first marker that comes out for round 2. So if you look at this, the first marker cut comes up for round 2 is a sub 2. Okay, so this is where you're going to give them the markers that they had from round 2. So be careful, because notice what they told you for round 2 was a fair share. We're just from 6 to 8. And so they're going to get 6 to 8. But notice that there's some items that were not taken. We have items that were not taken, were item 4 and 5. So we're going to have a surplus here of some items. And so we just said that there is a surplus of number 4 and 5 were not taken. Okay, so now we have that player A has their fair share. And so now we're going to look at player 2. So player 2, well, they have the following. They have from 11 to 13. So they got 11 through 13, and player A stopped at 8. There means there's some extra items. So our extra items are going to be 9 and 10. Okay, so every player got what they believe is a fair share amongst the items, plus we have a surplus of items. And so from there, they can split these up. Or just put them aside. I don't know what you would want to do. Okay, so let's look at another example. Very similar. You guys good with that?
Is that all we do?
That's all you need to do. So basically, you're pretty much organizing it. So it might have broken it down for you a little more on my math lab, like player 1, what was round, what did they choose for items for the first round? So you would have said item 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5,
Okay.
or 1 through 5.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, same idea. We still have 3 players. This time we have 12 items that they're going to split up among them. They laid out the items randomly. Each player placed their bids secretly, and this is what we got. And now we have to decide who to give what to. So again, making the tables just really helpful. So we have player A, we have player B, and we have player C. So there would have to be round 1, round 2, and round 3. So player 1, if we look at where they placed their first marker, that would be telling them that they're looking at 1 through 3. So you can do this for each player, round 1, or you can just go through for a single player for round 2, round 3. So round 2, A sub 1, that would be 4 through 7. And then round 3, they would think 8 through 12. So if we look at player B puts their first marker right after 7. And so they believe a fair share would be items 1 through 7. And then they say 8 through 9. And then 10 through 12. And then player C, they put their first marker after 2. So 1 through 2 would be round 1 for them. So 3 to 7 would be round 2, and then 8 through 12. So for each round, you're looking at whose marker comes up first that is still playing. So for first round, we're looking at whose marker comes up first in that line. And so you can see that C sub 1 comes up first. And so they're going to get those items for that round. And so there's going to be some extra, it looks like extra items. So now we're going to look at round 2. So we're going to look at where's the first marker in round 2. Actually, let me cross out C because they're gone now. But notice that A sub 2 or A sub 2 and B sub 1. Notice that there's 2 players, right? And they're asking for this, their markers come up at the same place, and they're the only players. And so you have to decide how you're going to do that. Well, notice that B sub 1, well, this is B sub 1. This is part of their share. That's a good question. Okay, so we got to look at, well, B sub 1, it's impossible to give that to them, right? Actually, so we actually have to cross this out. Because I've already given share 1 and 2 away. And so I'm gonna have to give the second round to player. So they're gonna get 4 through 7. And then if they got 4 through 7, we need to look at, do they have any extra for a surplus? And we do have a surplus here. Because notice number 3 is not given to either player A or C. So that's a surplus. Okay, so now we're going to look at player who's left and see what they get. And so for the last round, player B, they put 10 through 12. And so they're going to get the 10 through 12. And so we also have a surplus here. The surplus that we're not given are 8 and 9. So our surplus is 3, 8, and 9. So it's not necessarily that each player is going to get the same number of items. It just really depends on looking at it where they feel is a fair, what is a fair share. And you can maybe do a little bit of reasoning, like in looking at this, and I'm looking at where C2 put it, it's pretty soon. And so to me, that kind of shows me that he really, and knowing that that first player who puts their marker in is going to get the items, to me, that might say that he really wants one of these two items. Might bid that marker there. Okay, so let's look at it where we actually have to place this. Let's see. Actually, they do place it for us. We're going to place their markers of these students. Okay, so we have Quentin, Raymond, Stefan, and Tim are dividing a collection of 18 classic superhero comic books using the method of markers. The comic books are randomly lined up in an array shown. The value of the comic books in the eyes of each item are shown. Okay. So let's look at this and let's look at what is a fair share. What amount does each player believe is a fair share? So we got to go through, we got to look at the amount, how much those, so we need to look at the amount of what each of the group of comic books are worth. Okay, so let's go through each person. Okay, so let's go through and start with Quentin. Okay, so they believe that each G comic book is worth $10. So let's go through here and see how many G comic books there are. So we got 1, 2, 3, 3 G comic books. And so for Quentin, that's worth $10. So we're gonna have 3 times the $10 he believes it's worth. And so let's add. And now let's go to the worth of S. So he believes that's worth $6. Let's look at how many S's there are. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 comic books that start with S. And he believes those are worth $6 each. And now looking at how many W. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 comic books of W. And he believes those are worth $3 each. And then B. So we have 1, 2, 3. So 3 books, and they're worth $5 each. That's a $sign. Okay, so let's go through and look at the total amount of what he believes the assets are worth, or comic books in this case. And so we have 3 times $10 is $30, plus 6 times $6 is $36, plus 6 times $3 is $18, plus 3 times 5 is $15. So summing that, we have 30 plus 36 plus 18 plus 15. So that's a total of $99. So this is what he believes is the total worth of all the assets. But for a fair share, we have to divide amongst how many players there are. So his fair share is equal to the $99, and I believe there was 4 players. So 99 divided by 4. So 99 divided by 4. So this gets us about $24, or it is equal to $24.75. Okay, so let's go through and let's put in Quentin's markers before we go to any other player. Okay, so we got to figure out how much things cost. So again, let's go through. And so G is cost $10 for Quentin. And so if I go down this line, I'm going to start summing what these values are until I get to $24.75. I doubt I'm going to get 24. I know I'm not going to get $24.75 because none of these have cents. But I'm going to try to get something that's close to that, or as close as possible. And so if I look at summing the first comic book, which is G, that's $10. Plus the second comic book, which is S, that's $6. So far, that's $16. He has another S in here. So that's another $6. That's $22. So I'm getting pretty close. If I add 22, and if I add the next book, which is W, that's $3. That's $25. And so that's close to me to what his fair share is. And so I believe that Quentin would put his first marker right after that W. So maybe we can put Q for Quentin. So we're going to do that again. And so the next item in round 2 for Quentin, that would start with the comic book S, which is $6, plus the next one, which is G, which was $10. So plus 10, plus another $10. Right now, that gets me up to $26. And so he would put his next marker right here, Q sub 2. And so summing now, so B would be the first book in round 2 for Quentin. That's $5. And I'm just gonna make marks so I know which ones I got. Oops. Plus W, which is $3. Plus W, which is $3. Plus W, which is another $3. So far, I'm only up to $14. Plus S, which is $6. Plus, and I'm up to $20. So plus W, which is $3. So that's $23. If I do another S, that would get me up to, that's too much. So let's stop there. And this is where they would put their third marker. Okay, so we're gonna wanna do the same thing for the other players. Okay, so just so I have it. No, I didn't do it.
Wait, so that the first marker goes after the W because all of those assets before added together equal what he thinks is a fair share?
Right. So if you summed the comic book G, S, and W, that came up to be, I believe, $25. And his fair share of all the comic books he feels is about $24.75.
Wouldn't that G is 10 plus 2 sixes is 12 plus 3, wouldn't that be 29?
Did I go too far? W was 3. So G is 10. S is 6. That's 16. Plus another 6 is 22. And plus a 3 is 25.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so go do the same thing for all the other all the others. So let's see if I can do this. Awesome. So let's do the same thing now for Raymond. So Raymond, what do we got? First, we got to figure out what the fair share of what the total amount of all the comics books are worth for Raymond, and then figure out his fair share. And so going down the line, and we had counted how many comic books before. Darn it. Okay. So for Raymond, we got $9 for G, and there's 3 comic G books. So we got 3 times $9. Plus for S, there's 6 of them. So 6 times $5. Plus W, there's 6 of them, times $5. Plus B, he believes that's $11, so 3 of those at $11. So 3 times 9 is 27, plus 6 times 5 is 30, plus 6 times 5 is 30, plus 3 times 11 is 33. So that's 120. So he believes all the comic books, the total is $120, but his fair share is that $120 divided by the number of players, which is 4. So he believes a fair share to him is $30 worth. And so now we got to go down the line just like we did with Quentin, and we got to place his markers. So we're going to start summing this up. And so the first comic book was worth $9. The second comic book to him, which is S, is worth $5. Plus another S, so another $5. We're up to $19. Then W, which is only worth $5 to him. And then S, which is worth $5 to him. Right now we're up to $29. If we threw in G to that first round, that's gonna go up substantially. So we're gonna put his first marker after this S. So this is Raymond. Okay, so first comic book in round 2 is G, which is $9. Plus another G, which is $9. So we're up to 18. Plus B, which is $11. Okay, so right there, I'm already to $29. And so we're gonna put Raymond marker 2 right after B. And so W, that's $11. No, that was $5. So we have 5 plus 5 plus 5, those 3 W's together. That's $15. Then we have an S, which is $5. So we're up to 20. A W is worth $5. So we're up to 25. And what is an S worth? Oh, perfect. Okay. I believe I just did something wrong on my calculator. Okay, sorry. That's 15, 20, and 25, 30. So they're going to put it after this W right here, Raymond 2, or Raymond 3. Let's just check S, B, and B just to see that that's around, that should be around $30. Well, S is 5, B and B. Well, 2 times 11, that's 22, plus 5 is 27. Okay. So we just found where Raymond would put all of his markers. And so now we got to go through for Stefan and do the same thing. Okay, so, oops. Let's press something. So he believes $8 is for G, and we said that there was 3 comic books of G. And so we had 3 times $8 plus S, there's 6 of them, times $7. Plus W, there's 6 of them, and they were worth $6. And the last one, B, there's 3 of them, and that was worth $14. So if we sum this up, or multiply and sum, so 3 times 8, we got 24. 6 times 7 is 42, so plus 42, plus 6 times 6 is 36, plus 3 times 14, that's 42. So we got 24 plus 42 plus 36 plus 42. And this is $144. So Stefan believes that the comic books are worth, all of them are 144. So his fair share is equal to 144 divided by the 4 players. Which is equal to $36. Okay, so we're going to go down the line and we're going to plug in where we believe they fall. I'm wondering if we should do a chart first of the first 2 players, just so we have it, and then plug in Stefan. Let's maybe do that. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. So we have 3 players. I'm going to call them Q. Yeah, we can do it this way. We have Q, R, S, and T. And we have round 1, we have round 2, round 3, and round 4. Okay, so Quentin, round Q1. I don't know how we would mark this down. I mean, I guess I could say GSSW. Round 2 for him would be SGG. Round 3 for him was BWWWSW. And round 4 for them was SWSBB. So for Raymond, round one, they had GSSWS. Round two, they had GGB. Round three, they have WWWSWSW. And round four, they only have SBB. Okay, so for Stefan, we're looking at stuff that costs $36 or around $36. And so let me pull this up. And so let's go through the line for Stefan and start putting in his marker. Okay, so G is the first comic book, and that's worth for him $8. So we have $8 plus the second one is S, which is worth $7, so plus $7. Plus $7 is another S, plus W. So far we're up to $28, but we're going up to trying to get up near 36. So $28, so an S would be $7. And so right there, we are going to have to put on Stefan. So S of 1 goes there. So adding, so G is worth 8. So 8 plus 8, that's $16. Plus B is worth $14. So right now we're up to $30, and a W is worth $6. So we're going to place S sub 2 between those two W's. Okay, so W and W, so 6 plus 6, that's 12, plus S, which is 7, plus W, which is 6, plus S, which is 7. So right now we're at $32, and a W is $6, that's 38, that's closer, 38 is closer to 36 than 32 is, so I'm going to include W. So this is where S sub 3 is going to fall. Let me just check SBB. S is 7 and B are 14. So that's 2 times 14 is 28 plus 7 is 35. That's close to $36. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to my table real quick, and I'm going to just put in his values for round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4. Maybe. Okay, so S1, he had the same as Raymond for round 1. He has GSSWS. He has the same thing with Raymond for round 2 with an additional W. So he has GGBW. Round 3, they have WW. SW. And then the last round, they have the same thing as Roman, which is SBB. So not last but not least, let's look at Tim and the whole amount for Tim. Okay, so Tim, let's see. Okay, so Tim, he believes that the first one is worth $4, G is worth $4. There's 3 of them, so 3 times 4. There are 6 S's, and he believes those are worth about $7. Plus, there are 6 W's, and he believes those are worth, oops, sorry, I was reading the wrong player. So over here, S was worth only $3, not $7. W, which there's 6 of them, he also believes those are $3. And B, there's 3 of them, and he believes those are $5. So if you go down the line, 3 times 4 is 12, plus 6 times 3 is 18, plus 6 times 3 is 18, plus 3 times 5 is 15. So 63. If we divide that by 4 players, his fair share is $15.75. Okay, we just pause. I paused because someone had noticed that I had made an error, and I went and gave Raymond a little too much for round 3. He should have stopped here. Let me put it in green because that's what Raymond's color is for me. So let me also go back because that changes my table over here, R sub 3. Okay, so for round 2, in round 3, we got rid of what? We just got rid of 1. Round 3, get rid of W, which means that W goes over here. Okay, so thanks for catching that. So going now, we got to look at putting Tim's markers down. Okay, so Tim, we got G, which is $4, plus S, which are $3 each. That's $6. So far we got $10, plus W, which is $3. That's $13. 13, what would S be? S is 3. So 13 plus another 3, that is going to be where Tim is going to be. What did I just say? He's also with everybody else, right? Gee, it's $4 for 10, right? Right, so let me go back. So 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus W, which is 3, plus S, which is 3. That gets you to $16. So G, S, S, W, S. Hold on, there's comments going on. So G is $4 for Tim. You gave him $10. G is $4 for Tim. What do you mean I gave him $10? Oh, never mind. Okay. Okay, never mind. So let's go on. So let's look at R sub 2. R sub 2 for Tim. We are starting with G. G is $4. So we got 4 plus 4, that's $8. Plus B, which is $5, that's $13. If I go to W, just a minute, my battery's. Okay, so we found that Tim would put, for $16, it would be GGBW. So this is where Tim is going to go. So doing that, we have GGBW. And so now we're going to do W, 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 W. That's 3 plus 3 is 9. Plus S, which is 3 is, 3 plus 3 is 6. Plus 3 is 9. Plus W, which is another 3, is 12. Plus S, again, which is 3, that's $15. So this is where T is going to go. So what is that? We got WW. SWS. And that would mean that WSBB. Okay, this is where it would be helpful if I could grab and put all the markers together. I don't know if I can do that. I don't think I can. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a clean grab. Ish. Didn't want that. Try one more time. Wrong thing. Okay, it doesn't want to do it, guys. Let me just put in Q here. Q is GS, and it's going to stop after the first W. So to me, that means that Q gets those because they're the first marker that comes up in there. Okay, so it's fine. We don't have any other Qs in there. That would just make it a little more confusing. And so now we're going to have to look at where's the first marker that comes up for round 2. So to me, the first marker that comes up for round 2 is for Raymond. And so Raymond is going to get the GB. Okay, so let's look at Raymond. So he gets this group. So Raymond is not in there anymore. And so now we're going to look at, we have Tim and we have Stephen. So whatever one comes first, Tim or Stephen. Tim comes first. And are there any extras? So we first got to look at, are there any extras between round 1 and round 2? Notice that Q ends at the W, but round R sub 1, that ends at S. So S is going to be this S value right here. This is surplus. So far one S. Okay. So after that, we are giving, Tim was the first person to come up. And so we're going to give Tim his third round. Tim. Oops, that's not Tim. And so we got to look and see, was there anything that fell? And there was. So notice there's one W in between here that didn't get picked up. And so you have a W here that is extra. And now looking between Tim and Stefan. Stefan placed his third marker after this W. And Tim placed it over here. So we have a W, another W that is extra. And so Stephen is going to get what he had for round 4. Which is SBB. Okay, so we figured out, took a little while, but we figured out who got what, and by putting in the markers of what they believed their fair share was. Okay, so that is the method of markers and how you would go about and divvy up and have a fair share division using method of markers. Hopefully you guys understand that.